Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi kareem. Alhamdulillah. This is the third part of our uh, New Converts Guide for Prayer. This is the pronunciation of the 10 phrases needed for prayer. Okay. In this one, we're going to do the next two phrases that the new Muslim should begin to use. Last time we did the third kalima, the dhikr, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Okay, that is what the new Muslim should be saying in their salah while they're beginning to pray and learn the rest of the prayer. Excuse me. Now, this video, we're going to deal with two other important phrases which actually begin to precede this one. The first one is the ta'awwuth. This should be said when we say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And I'm going to show you how to pronounce it, which is I seek refuge with Allah, or seek protection with Allah from shaitan, which is the devil, the rejected one, or the cursed. Okay, this, I want to make note, this particular phrase has a number of ways that it can be used, and I like to teach this to the new Muslim in the beginning so they can, once they learn this phrase, they can begin to utilize it in many different respects, because this phrase, seeking protection with Allah from shaitan, this, what I have listed, is about 7 different occasions that this phrase can be utilized. Okay, starting with first, before reciting the Quran. This is one. Before we recite the Quran, we recite this. This is why it's said in the beginning when we started our prayer, because actually in the prayer we're going to begin to recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Once we learn it, we will learn to recite Surah Al-Fatiha at the beginning of the prayer, which is the first chapter of the Holy Quran. So while we say that at the beginning of this prayer, and while we will learn it, inshallah, in this particular video. Also, the other times, so we mentioned before we recite the Quran, there's a dua or prayer that's said before you actually enter into the bathroom. Okay, before you go and use the bathroom, you should recite this prayer or dua. If a person does not know that particular dua, or until they learn that particular dua, this is a good substitute. Saying again the ta'awwuth, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, before we enter the bathroom. So the third one, if and when a person sees anything that is sinful, something they're getting tempted by shaitan in various ways, it could be in many different ways. They see something or hear something, whether it's something live, whether they're watching TV or watching a movie or whatever it is, and they see something sinful that they know is unacceptable for their eyes or unacceptable for their ears. They should recite A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, because shaitan is trying to tempt them and get them aroused in something that's unpleasant and incorrect. The other occasion, if a person for some reason becomes angry, they become mad or angry due to some situation that is now getting on their nerves and they're about to lose their temper, then also at that time you can also recite this phrase. The other one, which is taught in the Sunnah, and all of this is from the Sunnah, the practice of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is also when we yawn. Sometimes we have an occasion, whatever the situation might be, whether we're in prayer or out of prayer, yawning. We go to yawn. The sunnah is that we should cover our mouth, preferably with the left hand, and we can turn the left hand uh, out to the back, because also the left hand, as you know, we use when we go to the bathroom to clean ourselves. So rather than using the front part of our left hand, we can cover our mouth with the back part of our left hand. And the sunnah is not to make any noise, any sound. Like sometimes when a person starts to yawn, they yawn and like this. This is not proper. So we should yawn without making any sound, cover our mouth, and then after we finish covering our mouth, then we should say, awwuth billahi minash shaitanir rajim. The other occasion, if we hear dog barking, if we hear a dog or dogs barking, whether it's one's own dog or somebody else's dog, we'll deal with that in subsequent videos, dealing with how Muslims can handle and deal with dogs, because there are some certain issues that a new Muslim should be aware of, because a lot of people in America and around the world have dogs. But if you hear a dog barking, you should also say, awwuth billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And the seventh one is, if you have a bad dream, if you wake up in the middle of the night, you have a bad dream, you have a nightmare or something that frightens you or scares you or whatever, then when you wake up, you should, change your position, and or you turn to your left shoulder and kind of not spit, but blow short 3 times like this over your left shoulder, and you recite awwuth billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So those are the 7 occasions that you can use this phrase. Anyway, how to pronounce it properly. Here we go. Used up most of the time just talking about this, and I wanted to get the 2 phrases in this one video. We say awwuth. And it's not just ooh, like people will say ooh. This actually has to come from the back of the throat, because it's the letter ayn. Oh. That letter, which will take some time and some practice to get used to saying actually properly, is 3 basic not 3 basic ways, but the 3 letters with that vowel, that letter with the 3 vowels, I, oh. Now we're here, oh. Thu. And here also, this thu, like sometimes you will have the mispronunciation, and you'll see in some of the books this letter utilized with a Z. And so you will say zoo. And you'll hear some people make this mispronunciation also, especially certain people from different parts of the world. They have occasion of mispronouncing this, so they will say zoo, and this is incorrect for the proper pronunciation of Arabic. It's not zoo, and it's not thu, like you stick the tongue through the teeth and like you say the. No, it's not there. The tongue actually goes to the back of the upper teeth. On this particular letter, the vowel. Okay, so it's thu. Awwuth. Okay, awwuth. Awwuth billahi. Awwuth billahi. Awwuth billahi minash shaitan. A'udhu billahi minash shaitan. A'udhu billahi minash shaitan. Near rajim. And many people say jim. It's not jim, it's jim, clearly. And also one other point I want to point out in this, in the word is and the name is shaitan. Shaytan. However, it is shaitan. But in this sentence, in the pronunciation, so many people make a mistake and say shaitan nirajim. Shaitan nirajim, which is incorrect. Okay? It is shaitan nirajim. The N sound is not pronounced twice. This is the doubling, which is some people make that mistake doing because this is a name. And this also happens with the other phrase as well, as we will see in the next part. But this is awwuth billahi minash shaitan near rajim. awwuth billahi minash shaitanir rajim. awwuth billahi minash shaitanir rajim. awwuth billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillah. This is the next phrase. Bismillah. And of course, Bismillah, just stopping there, means in the name of Allah. And you get ready to start to make wudu, before you get ready to eat anything, and anything else that you do that is actually good and halal, if you start it with Bismillah, then you can get the reward and the blessings from Allah for doing something in the way of Allah, even though you don't know the other etiquettes or maybe not know the other du'as or prayers to say before it. If you start it with Bismillah and finish it with Alhamdulillah, then you have reward for all that you do in between, if of course that action is something that's good and permissible. So anyway, you start Bismillah, not bis, bis. Bismillah. Here, Rahmah. Rahmah. Here's that ha sound again. Okay? Rahmah. And you'll hear this mispronounced a great deal. Many people say Rahmah, Rahmah, a lot of things because they don't take the time to practice, to listen, and to, really practice it to get it more perfected. But you want to say Rahmah, and here again where people will say Rahman, even though the word and the name is Rahman, but in this sentence it is not pronounced like that. You do not pronounce that N sound twice. It is Rahmanir Rahim. Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillah. Here, Rahmanir Rahim. 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 Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So the two phrases again. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So now how you use that? When you start your Salaat, start now, Allahu Akbar. Then the first thing you should say is A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Then Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Then Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah Allahu Akbar. Inshallah.